Gonna hang up my washing on the Siegfried Line. Lovely, that's that dry out. Oh hello, fancy meeting you here. As you can see, I'm on the Westwall, or the Siegfried Line as it's called. And this is one of the very first, the very last of the fortifications that Germany had ever built. So come along and have a look at what makes up the Siegfried Line or the Westwall. The Siegfried Line, the Westwall, runs from the border of the Netherlands down to the border of Switzerland. So it's basically covering France and Belgium, opposite the Maginot Line. 390 mile long, roughly about 630 kilometres, and it's made up of 18,000 types of defence, which is bunkers, apparently tunnels, tank traps, dragon's teeth, defensive positions, outposts, and have I said tank ditch? I'm not sure. But anyway, you get the gist of what the Siegfried Line is. I can't see all of it, obviously, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see certain aspects of it, if I can, around the Aachen region, which is one of the programmes that the Nazis used for building this part of the Westwall. So let's have a look, see what we can find. The Border Watch programme, mainly of Border Watch guards, obviously right near the borders. They had a combination of bunkers, only 20 inches thick, not very thick actually, but they had 3 embrasures in them, so at least they could defend themselves. But their job would have been to report back to HQ to tell them that whoever's coming along is coming along, and they can do the appropriate action. 1938 Hitler gave the directive to start the Limes programme. Limes programme is the old Roman Empire borders apparently, and it was under the guise of they were doing archaeological digs because the Treaty of Versailles didn't allow them to build any more fortifications. The Aachen programme started in 1939. It had mainly Type 107 bunkers. There was embrasures on the side but not on the front. If they had any on the front, then they would be protected by a big metal door. Now a lot of these bunker types were mainly around cities like Aachen. The Western Defence Zone run parallel with the other lines of defence. And they were mainly of MG34s and MG42s, machine gun positions, plus flak towers as well. The idea was that the flak towers being here, when the Allies came across, you fire flak, you want to post them higher in the air, so there's less chance or less accuracy on bombing whatever they were going to bomb. Last but not least, the Gelden emplacements. That just lengthened the north section of the Siegfried Line up to, it's called Kleve, which is near the Netherlands on the Rhine. And this was actually built after the start of the Second World War. The word Westwall, it's really, they're not sure where it came from. As far as they know, historians I think have been looking at the archives, and Hitler sent a directive the day on the 20th of May 1939 to workers and soldiers on the West Wall. The Siegfried Line after the Hindenburg Line. Apparently it was the Siegfried Stellung or the Siegfried position. Also Siegfried, I think in German mythology, was a dragon slayer. Now I'm near Aachen, so I'm going to look at anything I can find that makes up these series of defence in depth if I can, and then hopefully I'll show you what I found, and we'll just see how far we get. Now the Aachen Line run from Aachen itself, the city of Aachen, down to Saarbrücken. It's a heck of a distance, but I'm only doing some of it. I'm not doing all of it. I'm hoping to get into the Hurtgen forest as well. There's a couple of tales to tell inside there and quite a few bunkers.
We start our journey to the east of Aachen and check out a very rare bunker in the Aachen forest. We then move on to have a look at an anti-tank wall on what's left of a road barrier. We go over to the west of Aachen and check out some dragon's teeth, a guard shelter and a rare symbol that still exists today but was banned after the war.
I'm just in the woodlands just outside of Aachen in Germany. I'm going looking for apparently a special bunker of Sonder construction, which is special construction. Now, sometimes it's difficult to pinpoint where I want to go because the woodlands, as you can see in a minute. But I'm using what 3 words. Now, what 3 words pinpoint it exactly where you want to go. And all I'll do is just follow the arrow to where I want to go. Hopefully, that takes me directly where I'm going. Follow the arrow, follow the path. Should lead me straight to where I want to go. See, the woodlands are overgrown and thick, but luckily enough, must be a nature reserve, this place. This bunker here is part of the Westwall or the Siegfried Line. It's bunker number 139, I think. It's a special construction, so it's SK6A. Apparently it obviously had a machine gun mount. It would have artillery, and apparently on top it once had a dome, or I should say a cupola, for observation, but unfortunately that's been taken down and scrapped, I'm assuming, or reclaimed, one of the two. Now you can't get in. See, the artillery section there has been blocked off, and probably the main door's been blocked off as well. But no, it's for bats. There's nothing much you can see in here now because it's been blocked off. I understand that this bunker is the last bunker of its type. I'll put some more information on. I forgot the paperwork. I've left it in the van, so I can't remember what this was about. I just remember it being called SK6A. The Americans captured this and they used this as a bit of a base because they were going on through the Hurtgen forest at some point, which is further down, and will no doubt go there later on. And they were attacking the Rhineland. They obviously had to get through this lot first, and then they could move on into the industrial heart of Germany and then into Berlin. There's the back of it, completely overgrown. Now then, if this was like this back in 1944, then you would hardly have seen it, to be honest with you. The front of the actual bunker will be facing, no doubt, Belgium. The Belgium's only less than a couple of miles away. So this is one of the fields of defence that made up the Westwall. I'm on the southern slopes of the Schneeberg. What you see behind me is a 3 metre high anti-tank barrier. Now, at some point, it had steel girders coming through it at the top to stop people from climbing over. Can't see it yet. Not that they've all been gone and reclaimed. Above that is a natural slope anyway. There's a golf club just behind here. But far over there, within a couple of miles, is Belgium. So this wall was put here to protect itself from obviously any possible enemy attacking it. It's 350 metres long, this thing. And above the wall at one time would have been machine gun nests. Possibly anti-tank weapons as well. You see how it's made up? It looks like it's concrete slabs and then it's just put into place. There's the metal girders, if you can see them, just protruding out. they'd have had more likely barbed wire on them. But obviously after the war they've been resalvaged. That's quite possibly, it could possibly be a machine gun nest. It looks like an embrasure. And there we have one of the dragon's teeth that still survives around this area. The Germans used to call them the Hocker line, or the hump. That's what we called them in our country, and we had something like that there. They were called pimples. And they'd have one point gone all the way up there to back up this wall. That's just there. That's the end of this anti-tank wall. So there, these things here would have gone straight to the top and carried on. There's a golf course here now. I'm on top of the actual wall. That more likely wouldn't have been there, and more likely the dragon teeth have been removed so they can create this golf course. Difficult to see, but that's a block that you put a barrier across to block the road off. It's a checkpoint. It looks like one anywhere. Now, if you go over across that side there where the plaque is, there's the other side. Difficult to see now, but they've had a swing gate there. Can you see it there? That's where the old swing gate would have been. It'd have come across the road and would have attached to that big block there. And what I am now is still on military land. I think it was used for NATO, for different manoeuvres and stuff like that. I don't think they actually use it for that now, but it's still owned by the military. But people like myself and people they're cycling or just walking and just leisurely can mooch through here without worry of being attacked. If they still use it for military purposes, like they do some over in England, then they usually put a flag up and say you can't go on the land, but I don't know about this place, I've not a clue. And there we have some dragon teeth. These are dragon teeth. They are designed to stop any vehicles coming through at a given position. If you look, 1, 2, 3, 4, they go higher at the back. These are the 1938 ones, because the 1938 ones only had 4 sets of teeth, which you can see. The 1939 ones had an additional set of teeth. See what made these up, don't you? Rebar, wrapped over themselves. What you're seeing, what they call dragon's teeth. The Germans used these extensively across the Westwall. And the idea of these dragon teeth is to stop armoured vehicles crossing over them to get to the bunkers and get obviously to the soldiers. Now they're made is they have a trellis frame of reinforced bar, and it's laid down in the ground. Concrete's put on top of it. Then they'll make, in order to make these dragon's teeth themselves, they bend over the bar in a certain configuration. Have a wooden box that they'll slot on top, that's reinforced, and the top's cut off, or they're called truncated. Pour the concrete in, and then no doubt they will either vibrate it or tamp it to make sure it's solid. Now, the reasons why these are still here is because they couldn't blow them up. They're so strongly built. I mean, time over a period of time, like when they'll start to rot apart, like some of them have anyway. But generally, they were well built. The trouble is they weren't very good defensive wise. All the Allied did when they came up to these type of defences was just get a Sherman tank, get a bulldoze nose on it, and just plough it over and cover it with soil, flatten it down, and off they went over the top. Simple as that. You can see how dense this forest is. If you're going to put any bunkers in here for defensive positions, then it's going to be perfect. It's going to hide the bunkers completely and take any attacker by surprise. A destroyed bunker. These were generally taken apart after the war by the Allies. I don't think they wanted to have anything to do with making some kind of pilgrimage for Adolf Hitler. So what they did was they just basically destroyed wherever they could. Initially, these bunkers, the early bunkers, were built by private companies. The problem is they just couldn't cope with the amount of work that the Nazis were giving them. So Hitler ended up hiring a guy called Fritz Todt. Now Fritz Todt had a company called the Todt Organisation. Now the vast majority of stuff that I look at and you see was built by Fritz Todt and his company. At one point the Westwall had over 500,000 people that worked for building this wall. Now as far as I know, because it was pre-war, that there was no actual slave labour. That came later on when the soldiers started to, when they needed more soldiers to fight the Russians and obviously fight the Allies as well. Work on the Westwall was quite monotonous and quite dangerous. They had to use craning certain metal plates and couplers, which obviously, if they slip or chain snaps, they're basically dead. Some are up to 60 tons in weight. Some of the doors you see, they're all designed to fit into these buildings. And there's a catalogue called, I think it's called a Panzer catalogue, and they all have code names of what thickness and what it's for and all this stuff. But to try and build morale up, the German government give the workers a medal to say, well done, you're doing your bit for the possible war that's gonna come up. So I think I'd be better having money, wouldn't you? To get all the materials to this site, the Germans used the Deutsche Reichsbahn Railway Company. They used extensive use of the railways that actually had been built in the First World War to cart stuff to the front along the western borders. A lot of the material, the metal material anyway, well, nearly all the material actually had to be imported because Germany is actually is not very rich in commodities. The only thing it's got in its abundance is coal. Another destroyed bunker, nothing left of it now. All the stuff you see that I show you and I walk round, all these bunkers, all these fixtures, all these gun emplacements are all, the vast majority of them do what they call Regelbau design, which is standard design. Say a boss, foreman, whoever it is, gets blueprints of, say, whatever it may be, a gun emplacement, or whether it's infantry or it's artillery. He will know exactly what he needs for that particular position. Well, he'll know how many men it needs, he'll know how much concrete, how much steel, how much shuttering, and how long it'll take, unless obviously there's a problem. The only ones that usually are different, what they call SK Sonder construction, which is special construction, and they're obviously a little bit different. But generally, the stuff that I show you is usually standard design, and they all have a type wherever it may be. And as I go along and show you, if I know what type it is, I'll tell you. And also I'll put a little diagram, if I can, if I've got one, in one of the corners so you know exactly what you're looking at. I've come across this concrete sentry box. You can see the slits in it. It's observation only. I wouldn't be surprised with a hook on top as well for taking to different places. This would be sort of worth, for instance, new construction, or maybe somewhere that was important and security needed to be observed. Now it's only a one-man. It can only fit one person. There's a metal door around the back of it. It's unfortunately shut, but in case of air raid or case of attack, they can jump in here. Now they may have used these on the west wall, I don't know, for the from the outpost, the border patrol, so at least they can jump inside and observe what they need to do, hopefully without getting shot at or bombed. Now this is a 1939 version of the Hocker line, or the Dragon's Teeth, or Dragon Zena, as we call it. And it's got a set of 5 teeth, much bigger than the one that you saw before. And this one of yours got a good 1.5 metres in height. And nothing much really. It just looks like a shelter for the crew, especially when they're being bombed. The people that built this was called the RAD, or the Reichsarbeitsdienst. It's a work group of the Nazis. Built in 1938. In August 1938, I think it was the 27th of August 1938, Hitler paid a secret visit to this area to have a look. Apparently this was a showcase bunker inside, but it's not that big. But if you notice this, as far as I know, this is the only bunker in existence that has this partial swastika still on it. Because after the war, all this stuff here was destroyed and removed.
Moving down the line to Lammersdorf, I'm trying to find a very rare locking barrier called the Speerschranke. Whilst having no luck locating this barrier, I come across a German gent called Klaus, who was local to the area and offered me his help in finding this artefact.
This is Klaus. Klaus is going to show me where this Speerschrank is, because I was completely wrong position. Luckily Klaus can speak a bit of English, so hopefully we can find this unique barrier. Is the bunker down there?
No, only here.
Oh, around here, yeah. Looks like we're on.
Open. How much?
Oh, okay.
All
Get you.
broken.
It is, yes. It's probably a coupler on top of here, whether it's machine gun or it's just observation, but we're still on top of the thing. I have no information on this place. Just Klaus has brought me to it. Yes, I see. Nothing left. All gone. You probably can't see much, but there's nothing left of this bunker. It's completely destroyed. There's some stalactites there coming down, obviously through the line in the actual mix, but that's it really. This bunker could be the possibly pioneer programme. It's it's further on towards the front of Belgium, so that's possibly could be a possible outlook at some point, especially with, I think, the coupler was on top where the hole was. There's nothing left of it now.
Very interesting. The building we were on.
Yeah.
You look.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1939 these are. You can see that. Well, Klaus is taking me down here to see something. I'm not quite sure where it may be, but we will follow him with interest. Look at the size of this wall here, where these part of the tank trap really, isn't it, when you think about it. Yeah, this must be the front. That was the border over there somewhere, because the back, they're taller than the front. That means that's the defensive side. This is the sort of attacking side, if you want to class as that. And this is where the dragon's teeth split into two, so allow the stream to run through them. Very interesting indeed. As you can see behind me, this is where the dragon's teeth are split, so it lets the stream run through. Otherwise, obviously, it would dam up. You don't want that. But this is what happens when you hit a stream with this Hocker line. You imagine infantry and a tank coming from the Belgian border, and they hit this wall here. First of all, they got that big concrete plinth there, and then they've got the teeth behind that. So it would have been a formidable barrier. More the Hocker line, and you can see that they've been buried there completely. There'd have been a thing called the Speerenbetten, possibly, through here. They're like concrete zigzag sections.
Nick,
Ah, yeah. Concrete zigzag sections. And what they would have done was they'd have two either side, or one either side, and then they picked up these massive girders and blocked the road with them. But there is none in existence as far as I know. I can just imagine a Speerenbetten, I think it's called, a betten spear. The sections there, that more than likely would have been there, but it's all gone now. And it's just a blocking barrier. And they were shaped like teeth, but not like them teeth, obviously. I'll put a picture on so you can see. And they would pick big iron girders up and block the road off, so no vehicle could get through unless they wanted them to. Unfortunately, the last one has now been removed because, as Klaus says, it was here and it's now gone. Last one. What a shame. Just a shame about that. The very last barrier that's left on the west wall, completely gone. I'm disappointed. Klaus is disappointed. It's part of his history as well, but I've not a clue what the heck they're doing regarding building work there, but oh well, that's gone now. What an absolutely fantastic day. I've just come to a place called Lammersdorf. I'm looking for an old barrier from the Second World War, and I could not find it. Anyway, I bumped into this gentleman who was just walking up, and he spoke a bit of English. And next thing, we're walking everywhere looking. He knew what it was. He took me down to some dragon's teeth. We had a look at that. Walked up to where the barrier is. Unfortunately, somebody's taken it out. It's the last one on the west wall. The very last one. I know it didn't work, but it looked special to me. Hopefully I'll put a couple of pictures so you can see what it looked like. And just a shame that it's been taken away, really. And obviously Klaus wasn't happy as well, because obviously it's part of history as well. Anyway, I've been for a brew in his flat, and he gave me a bottle of this. Now, I just made sure, I said to him, there's no alcohol, is there? He said, no, it's just lemonade, so I'll have a drink of that in a minute. I'm going to move on now. I'm going to go, I think, to Aldi. I think have a quick look round Aldi, or Lidl, wherever it may be, and then carry on doing my Siegfried Line Westwall journey.
In part 2 of the Westwall, I visit an unusual underground bunker. I have a walk around the Hurtgen forest to see what happened back here in 1944. I then visit some Limes programme bunkers on a ridge on the south side of the Hurtgen forest.